Hey, how are you?
Good. How do you say your name? Taye?
Yeah, you said it just right. Tie, like a tie.
Okay. Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. I really appreciate you taking out the time to stop by. This is definitely an honor. I look forward to hearing about, some of the amazing work that you have done.
Sure, I'm very happy to be here.
All right, all right. For the viewers who may not recognize you, let them know who you are, definitely where you from, and what do you do?
My name is Heng Park. I'm a pianist, classical pianist. I was born in Korea, and my family immigrated to the United States when I was about 10 years old. But I started playing the piano at age 5 back in Korea and continued after we moved here. I went to the New England Conservatory of Music in Boston, got my bachelor's and master's there in music performance. I am the founder and artistic director of Halcyon Music Festival that's based in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. And it's a chamber music festival that's presented each summer. And we just celebrated our 10th anniversary, and that was very exciting. And starting our next decade next summer, I teach as an affiliated artist in the music and theater department at MIT. Um, and I'm also the founder and the pianist of the Boston Trio, and we perform um, all over the country. And that's about all of it.
Okay, okay. Wow, that sounds pretty amazing. I appreciate you sharing that. Now I have to ask you, you started playing at a young age. Are there other musicians in your family or were you the first?
I have, I'm the oldest of 4 siblings, and at one point, everyone played different instruments, though. Um, my sister, the second oldest, she played violin. She still does, although she didn't go into it professionally. Our brother, he played the cello. He no longer does. Our youngest sister um, actually did her studies in viola performance and got her degrees in that. But she's also no longer doing that professionally. She's actually now the artistic director of a all women taiko drumming group in Toronto. My 2 sons grew up playing instruments. I let them choose their instruments, but I made sure that there was music in their lives. I just felt that um, as a musician myself, that it was my duty to make sure that the next generation um, in my family, at least, had access to that and were exposed to that. My older son is an actor now, but he still plays the violin very, very well. My younger son is actually a professional musician. He's a cellist and he's a member of the Boston Symphony Orchestra.
Wow, okay, that's really cool. I mean, that's a blessing that you was able to pass that on to the next generation. I'm sure they
Yes.
really, really appreciate that. Now, I can ask you, did you select the piano in particular, or did you try other instruments?
I was drawn to it initially when I was 5. I saw a cousin of mine, a first cousin of mine, playing. She was about a year older than me, and she had been playing about a year, and she was very gifted. And I mean, she was still playing pretty elementary stuff, but still, I was just just astounded and uh, in awe of it. And I said to my parents, I want to do that. And my mother said, well, you, you don't just play, you have to practice. And I didn't realize what was involved in in the rigor and the discipline that it takes. I was a little kid, so I just thought that looks like fun, you know. But then I learned pretty quickly after that you actually have to put in the hours every day, which or at times was not easy. Um, yeah, and when I was later, after our family moved to the States, I did dabble a little bit in other instruments, but never seriously, nothing like the piano. It was sort of a novelty, you know, just in junior high school, you could pick up. I did pick up the oboe for a little bit, bassoon for a little bit, so that I could play in the band. But I didn't really practice and I didn't have lessons in it. So no, nothing came close to oh, the intensity of what I was doing at the piano, and have done ever since.
Okay, okay. Now I would like to know this: what type of music did you listen to growing up, and even now, do you listen to a wide variety of music, or do you kind of listen to the same style of music that you play?
Um, well, I have to admit that I'm quite ignorant when it comes to other genres of music. I love listening to jazz when I really want to just chill out. Um, but I'm a classical music nerd. What can I say? I grew up learning that repertoire, listening to that repertoire, and now I've been teaching that repertoire and working in it. It's sometimes though it's not easy to relax listening to it because I get so focused in it that I start being critical and I can't uh, really truly just zone out and relax with it, you know. But absolutely 1,000% passionate about it. But if I really want to just have a glass of wine and just relax, then I listen to jazz. I'll listen to Ella Fitzgerald and Louis Armstrong and things like that. But I don't. I'm not that familiar with. I mean, I I've been I've heard other kinds of music. I might even recognize some of it, but I'm not that versed to it. My kids, when they were growing up, I didn't want them to feel like they were restricted to just listening to and playing classical music. So I basically said, you can listen to whatever you want. And so they grew up really feeling very comfortable switching between different genres. And from their rooms, I could hear them listening to hip hop and rap and then Brahms symphonies and back and forth. And they had no trouble going back and forth like that. Um, and they're still like that, even though, you know, my younger son is a professional cellist. They really appreciate other forms of music. So that was a really long-winded answer to your question.
No, no, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Now I can ask you this: you had mentioned the music festival. What inspired you to start that? And for the viewers who may not have had a chance to check it out, what exactly is it about?
Yeah, so I had been involved in many other summer music festivals, um, and the one right before I founded this festival um, was a teaching festival, and I absolutely believe in educating the younger generation. But at this point in my life, when I started it about 11 years ago, I had a hunger for um, s- starting a community um, where musicians, professional musicians from all different backgrounds, be it um, being members of a symphony orchestra or professors in a music department or conservatory, um, or being member of a string quartet, what have you. coming together for a couple of weeks in the summer and having no care in the world but making music together, and specifically chamber music. And chamber music, for those of you who don't are not aware, uh, just like the word implies, chamber, um, it was first started in Europe about in the 17th century, where small groups of not a large symphonic orchestra, but and not a soloist either, but trios and quartets and quintets, small ensembles that could fit in a room like chamber. Um, and and in those days, they called it like a salon um, concerts, where friends would get together and play and read chamber music together, trios or quartets. Um, so that's what our festival is. Halcyon Music Festival is a chamber music festival. So we put on a number of concerts, and every single program is uh, unique, and in that we don't repeat any pieces in any of the programs. And we play all sorts of things: string quartets, piano quintets, um, piano trios, works for flute, cello, and piano, clarinet, violin, and piano. So you name it, we play the whole gamut of the chamber music repertoire out there, starting from Bach, um, um, from the 18th century, all the way up to present time. And our audience, we've built this audience over the years, and in the first couple of years we were, a small organization just trying to get a foot in the door, and now we've become a known entity in the region, and we have a devoted audience, and it's growing all the time, and they really, really appreciate what we share with them, and we're just thrilled to be able to share our music with them. And what I think is unique about us is that we have a suggested donation at our front door instead of a set ticket price, so that anyone coming off the street, if they say, I don't have any money, they are still welcome to come in. If they say, I can only pay $5, they're welcome to come. Most people do pay the suggested donation, but we have all people from different walks of life, who may not always attend concerts in symphony halls, but still love music anyway, and we love sharing our music with them.
Oh, okay, that's great. That's real cool. Now, I can ask you this. You had mentioned education. I know you teach music, but I guess what is your role? You did some work with MIT and Harvard. In what capacity? And then is it in like a traditional classroom setting, or is it something different?
Um, when I was, for a number of years, I was artist in residence. That was my title, artist in residence at Harvard University. I was uh, the organizer and the head of the chamber music course that they had there, and I would put the student groups together and assign the pieces, and then coach them. Uh, so it would be in a classroom setting, but it would be small ensembles. And then maybe once a month, we give a master class where all of the groups in that course would come together and they would play for each other, and then I would kind of teach them in front of all of the students. At MIT, I am part of this program called the Emerson program, where in the beginning of the year, in September, the students audition to get into that program. I mean, they are already students at MIT, but in order to get into this particular program in the music department, they have to audition. And so, and we have only so many slots, and so the most advanced students, the most talented students get in, and then they have private lessons with us. But I teach those private lessons in a classroom at MIT, but there's nobody else there. It's just a student and me. And then there are some over the semester, some group classes, but ultimately their goal is to perform at the end of the semester in a large concert hall setting, and that's what we prepare them for. Um, and that's the format. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Now I would like to know this. By you learning how to play the piano since age 5, have you seen a significant, I guess, change technologically? With all the talk of AI, have things changed in terms of you just being a musician and also you teaching it to other people?
Well, that's a very interesting question you pose. I have to say, in terms of the technical mastery of the instrument, and sort of all around, all not just at not just on the piano, but actually sort of all around classical music on violin, cello, um, especially, but all the instruments. I think um, the level of the technical mastery um, by the students and young artists today are generally higher. Uh, However, I think I'm of the opinion, and some of my colleagues agree with me, that some of the old fashioned way of playing, the old world, as we might put it, the old European way, uh, has gone out of style, and a lot of people play quite unemotionally and robotically, and that's kind of become more the fashion, and I think for the worse. I think it's too bad, actually. Um, when people play with a lot of heart, I think the general consensus is that's too indulgent. Um, and I wish actually some of that would come back. Um, and I work on continuing that tradition, and some of my most respected colleagues also. But I don't think that when it comes to, you ask about AI, so far anyway, there's absolutely no way that AI or any um, computer programs can emulate what humans do in terms of making music. I have, yes, you can feed to into a computer program, all the notes and notate it in such a way, and then say play it, and then they will play it. And I have heard these, and it's uh, it, it doesn't sound like music. It's all correct rhythm wise and pitch wise, but it doesn't sound like music. Um, I think it'll be a long time, if ever, that that will happen. I doubt it.
I really appreciate you sharing that because you have so much insight and experience, and you're so great at what you do. Because I interview different people, whether it's medicine or film or architecture, and they have different instances of AI kind of impeding on the normal way that they used to doing things. And I could agree with what you were saying. Like I listen to hip hop, so I don't know if you're familiar with Tupac. He's an artist. He's no longer living, and they have AI, and people they can type in words and they can make similar sounding voice, but like you mentioned, it doesn't have the heart, it doesn't have the
Yeah.
soul. You could just feel it like he wouldn't say that, or he wouldn't say it like that, but it sounds like him, and it's not really, I guess, as interesting or as good.
Believe it or not, I've heard of the name Tupac. I'm so proud of
Oh,
myself.
oh, okay, that's cool.
Oh, your viewers will think I'm an idiot, but
No, no, it's all good. I appreciate you. Cause we got a worldwide audience. I'm a world traveler, so I've been to about 70 countries. I'm currently in Madagascar. I don't know if I told you that I'm in East Africa. Now you've done some traveling and some performing too. If you could talk about some of the countries and some of the great venues you've been to,
yeah.
not only
Well,
been to but played in. You know.
yeah. I've been actually back to Korea a couple of times to perform. Um, the Korean classical music scene is insane. No one really has a perfect logical explanation to how it exploded the way it did. When you think that, uh, less than 100 years ago, there was no such thing. I mean, they weren't even exposed to classical Western music, and for it to become, I mean, not only we're not talking about just the classical musicians who live in Korea and work in Korea, but you walk into any music conservatory, classical music conservatory in America, in the States, and it will be something between 30 to 50% Koreans, which is mind boggling. Like, how did that happen? Um, anyway, I got distracted. So, yes, and I lived for a few years in Paris, France in my 20s, and I performed there quite a bit. In Switzerland, in Serbia, and then a lot of places in the United States, in Canada, and Canada too. Um, yeah.
Wow. I mean, a lot of people, they just dream of traveling, period. But to be able to travel and do what you love to do, and what you do as a profession, that's very, very inspiring. Um,
It's not sometimes glamorous. um, it, you let's say, compared to the top orchestras in the world when they go on tour, for instance, Boston Symphony or New York Philharmonic or a London Symphony, when they go on tour, we're talking about just the top orchestras, not the second tier and the third. They stay in, 5-star hotels, and they get their suitcases brought right to them to their hotel room. They don't even ever have to lift anything. It's not quite like that when you're traveling as a soloist or as chamber musician. Um, you rent your own car and you drive yourself and you book your own hotel, or sometimes the venue will put you up but with a family, and sometimes that's wonderful because then you get to meet other people, of course. But it's not always easy or um, glamorous. but uh, but it is wonderful, yes.
yeah, yeah, that
what are
makes a
you
lot of
doing
sense.
in, what are you doing in Madagascar?
Um, just visiting. I've been in Africa the whole year, so I've been to about 20 different African countries. So I think I'm gonna live in Africa for a while, but I'm just trying to find the right country because there's so many. Africa has more countries than any other continent. It's almost 60 different countries, and they're very different. They're very diverse. So yeah, I'm just hanging out in Madagascar. It's a beautiful place. The weather is
Oh,
nice. They got a lot of animals and wildlife and stuff.
no, I've heard that. I've heard that about Madagascar. I would love to go there. My husband is an avid fisherman, and I think he would love to go there.
Okay, well, keep me updated because, like I say, I plan on being here for a while. This is definitely a place I would live because it's like a lower crime. low cost of living. It's more laid back island vibes. But to your point, like you were saying, when you travel, sometimes people may assume or take for granted, how glamorous it can be. Because sometimes I might be backpacking, but they think I'm on a first class flight. I'm staying in a 5-star hotel. But when I take my picture, say if I go to the pyramid, I'm taking the same picture that, another person is taking. But when they see that picture, they just filling in the rest. You know what I'm saying? So
Right, right. Well, that is so wonderful in that you're having these adventures. That's amazing. I've never been to Africa.
oh, it's really cool. It's a really cool. It's my favorite place out of all the places I've been. I really enjoy Africa, definitely. Um, okay, now I wanted to ask you this. Now, have you thought about like maybe writing a book or doing a documentary on your life or your musical experience, or even from an educational standpoint? Just teaching.
I've thought about writing a book, but um, something always comes up, musically, that I have to deal with. I would need, I would need space, mental space to do something like that, and I haven't found it. I would like to though. This is one of my dreams to do that. Documentary though, that I've never thought about. Uh, no, I have never thought about that. But a book, I probably need a co-writer who's a professional writer. I mean, I'm a decent writer, but not not great. And so yeah, so I probably need someone to co-write it with me. But uh, yeah, it's something I think about.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Or even the festival, just because I don't know if you have footage of it online or where people can see, because although they may come to the festival, you can show what it takes to set it up, what it because when everybody go home, you got to break everything down, you got to clean it up. I don't know. It just seems like it would be something interesting.
Well, last last summer, um, during the festival, a the New Hampshire affiliate of ABC, the ABC affiliate in New Hampshire, which is one of the main channels in broadcasting in New Hampshire, came and followed us around. Their team followed us around for about 12 hours one day, and then they put this whole um, 8-minute piece together and aired it later after our festival ended. So, but they promised that they would re-air it before of a month or so before our next June festival. I will send you that. I think if you watch that 7-minute video, you'll get a really good sense of what goes on. I'll send you that.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely want to check that out. We're about 28 minutes in, so I want to ask you maybe one more question. If you could talk about the world renowned Boston Trio, how did that come about and what exactly is it? And also, if people want to follow, if you have a performance or if you have music or they want to, keep up with what you guys are doing, where they
Well,
can
if
do
you
that.
just look up bostontrio.com, www.bostontrio.com, you'll see our website. I am the only founder left. I started it with two colleagues 27 years ago. Um, it's made up of me, the pianist, a violinist, and a cellist. And that's usually the format for a piano trio. But it was with a different violinist and a different cellist than we have now. And yeah, we uh, perform a lot, travel a lot over the years, different amounts every season, and it's still going strong. Yeah.
Okay, wow, that's really inspiring. I mean, because you said 27 years, some people they haven't worked a job that long or been alive that long. They still in their early 20s, early teens, just figuring life out. But you had that
Oh,
much
we
time.
all are. We all are. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, it was great to speak to you.
definitely. I'm so glad you came on the show. It was really an honor.
Thank you so much for having me.